Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to give you the insights that, well, really matter. Today, we're looking at a strange situation in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? A team that's actually winning games, but their star quarterback seems to be going backward.
Exactly. We're diving into the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've hit their bye week, and there's this sort of tension around Trevor Lawrence.
Right. So our mission today, using an analysis syndicated via SI, is to figure out what's really going on. Is this just a blip, or is there a genuine Trevor Lawrence problem? And crucially, who or what is actually responsible for the offense struggling?
And here's why this is so interesting for you, the listener. The Jags are, doing all right record-wise. They're sitting at 4-3. That's encouraging overall.
Definitely encouraging. And they've got a new setup, too. New head coach Liam Cohn, new GM James Gladstone. They were brought in to kind of reset things.
So that's the positive side of the coin. Looks pretty good from the outside.
It really does. New regime, finding ways to win. But then you dig just a little bit deeper and bam, you hit this major issue.
The big negative.
The big one. Despite the new coach, despite the winning record, the source material is pretty blunt about it. Trevor Lawrence is not improving.
Not what you want to hear about your number one pick.
Not at all. Through 7 games under Cohen, his play's actually been rated below average, so you've got this conflict. The team's succeeding on the scoreboard, but the guy they built everything around isn't progressing. In fact, he might be regressing.
Okay, let's unpack that failure. Because Cohen wasn't just hired to be a coach, right? He had a very specific job to do.
Absolutely. It was explicit, public even. Cohen was brought in to elevate Lawrence's game. That was the mandate. Take him from good, promising quarterback to consistently great.
And the data, 7 games in, suggests, well, the opposite.
Yeah, that's the really concerning part. The numbers seem to show his play is actually below what it was in 2022 and even 2023.
Wow. So no matter how you slice it, stat-wise.
Pretty much. Whether you're looking at basic stats or the more advanced stuff, the trend is down. And for a guy drafted first overall now in year 4, that's worrying.
So why? Why the dip? Is it the system? Him? Both?
It could be a few things. Maybe he's not comfortable yet. Maybe the communication isn't there. Or maybe the system just isn't clicking with him right now. But look, if your main job is to make the QB better.
And he's measurably worse.
Right. Worse than under the last staff, who weren't exactly hailed as offensive gurus, you have to start asking if the whole process is working.
Okay, but let's search for a silver lining here. Is there anything in the numbers, any little glimmer of hope, suggesting something is improving?
There is one thing, actually, and it's pretty important for a QB. He has cut down on the turnovers quite a bit in the last month or so.
Okay, that's something. That's the one sort of nuanced positive mentioned.
Yeah, the numbers are clear. He had 4 turnovers in the first 3 games. That's not sustainable.
Definitely not.
But in the next 4 games, only 2 total. And the analysis even points out that one of those 2 probably shouldn't have counted, looked like a missed defensive penalty.
So ball security is much better. That's a tangible improvement.
It is. But as the source stresses, it feels like a small victory when the rest of the passing game is kind of swimming in, well, mediocrity.
Which brings us to the environment around him.
Yeah.
Because the article is fair. It says you can't just blame Lawrence for everything.
No, definitely not. It makes that point very clearly. It would be unfair to pin all of the Jaguars' offensive struggles simply on Lawrence. He's operating within a system that has some serious flaws right now.
Okay, let's break those down. Factor number 1. The guys up front, the offensive line.
Yeah, the protection. The source says the line has been overmatched at times.
And there's a pretty stark example of that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. The Seattle game. They gave up 7 sacks.
Yeah.
7.
You can't operate like that. No quarterback can.
Exactly. You can't expect consistency from your QB if he's constantly under duress. It just doesn't work. And what's odd is how the coaching seems to be handling that weakness.
How so? You'd think if the line's struggling, you'd run the ball more, right? Protect the QB, slow the rush down.
You would think. But one of the big criticisms leveled at Cohen in this piece is that he has not leaned on the running game in weeks.
That seems counterintuitive.
Completely. If your line is getting beat, you typically run more, use play action, try to simplify things. But apparently that hasn't been the approach.
So questionable strategy there. What else is contributing to the offensive issues besides the O-line?
Well, the overall operation itself, it's described as clunky and inefficient.
Clunky, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Didn't they have similar issues before?
They did. The analysis actually draws a parallel to the previous era under Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. suggesting that, maybe the operational side of things hasn't improved as much as hoped.
So it's not necessarily the plays being called, the X's and O's.
Apparently not. The source suggests the scheme is sound. It's the process that's broken.
What does that mean, the process?
Think basic execution. Too many penalties, getting plays in late, burning timeouts because of slow substitutions, mental mistakes, stuff that's apparently been happening since the summer.
That kills drives. All that sloppiness just destroys any rhythm.
Exactly. It makes it really hard to get on schedule, which is something Lawrence himself talks about needing to do. You can't build consistency in chaos.
Okay, so we've got O-line issues and operational messiness. And then there's the third factor, which, honestly, this number is kind of shocking.
It really is. The receiver drops.
Yeah. The guys paid to catch the ball aren't catching the ball.
Not nearly enough. The stat is just brutal. 21 drops for the Jaguars so far. That is the most in the NFL by a healthy margin.
21. Just let that sink in for a moment. 21 catchable passes hitting the turf.
It's astronomical. We're talking potentially game-changing plays just gone. First downs, touchdowns, big gains wiped out because of drops. It completely skews how you evaluate the quarterback, too.
And it's not evenly distributed, is it? The article names names.
It does. It points out rookie Brian Thomas Jr. has 6 of those drops all by himself.
6 drops.
Yeah.
For one player.
Yeah. Think about that. Some entire NFL teams don't have 6 drops total. One rookie has that many. So add league-leading drops to the O-line pressure and the operational problem.
And suddenly Lawrence's below-average play looks a bit different, doesn't it?
It provides critical context, absolutely. He's trying to perform surgery in a shaky operating room with malfunctioning tools.
Okay, so we've laid out all the external problems, massive issues. But the deep dive doesn't let Lawrence completely off the hook, does it?
No, it doesn't. Despite everything we just discussed, the line, the drops, the clunky operation, the article still maintains he should be better than this.
Why? Why hold him accountable when the situation seems so difficult?
Well, because he's Trevor Lawrence. #1 pick. Big contract incoming, year 4. At some point, the expectation is that a true franchise quarterback finds a way, maybe not to be elite in those circumstances, but to be better than, worse than his previous seasons.
To elevate the situation somewhat, or at least tread water better.
Exactly. There's a feeling that even with the chaos, his baseline should be higher. His performance being measurably worse than last year raises questions about maybe his own consistency and decision-making within that chaos.
And it seems Lawrence himself isn't ducking that responsibility. He had some pretty frank comments after that blowout loss to the Rams.
He did. He talked about self-inflicted wounds and flat out said, I haven't played well. He owned it.
And he specifically mentioned how they're starting games, right?
Yeah, he really zeroed in on that. Mentioned slow starts being a problem in the last couple of weeks, and against the Chiefs, too. Just not coming out of the gate effectively.
And he connected those slow starts, the 3 and outs, probably fueled by penalties, and drops directly to falling behind good teams.
Right. He used the Rams game as an example. Said something like, when you get down 14 points right away because you start slow, it's tough sledding from there. He sees the connection between the poor execution early and the game getting away from them.
So what's his solution? What did he say they need to do?
Pretty simple, really. Find a way to get back to starting the game faster, on schedule, and just play ball. That phrase on schedule really jumps out, doesn't it?
It does. It ties right back into fixing that operational messiness we talked about. The penalties, the substitutions, the whole process.
Exactly. Get the basics right, execute cleanly, and let the talent take over.
And speaking of talent, the analysis does acknowledge it's there. We see glimpses, right?
Oh, absolutely. The potential is undeniable. The article specifically brings up that game-winning drive against Kansas City. That was pure, high-level quarterback play under pressure.
Clutch, the kind of play that makes you think, okay, that's the guy.
That's the guy. But, and this is the core conclusion of the piece, those moments have just been flashes. They haven't been the norm.
So the big challenge is turning those flashes into something reliable week in, week out.
Precisely. For this 2025 season to be considered worthwhile, as the source puts it, Lawrence needs to find consistency for the first time in his NFL career. The ceiling is high, we see it sometimes, but the floor needs to be raised significantly.
So let's wrap this up. The Jaguars head into their bye week at 4-3, which looks good. But underneath, there's this brewing crisis.
Yeah, it's a complex picture. You've got a winning record, a new structure, but the centerpiece, the quarterback, isn't developing as planned. And it's not just him. It's the O-line, the league worst drops. The whole offensive operation under Cohen seems flawed.
It really feels like the process is the problem. more than the people or the plays.
I think that's a fair assessment based on this analysis. The talent seems to be there, the scheme is apparently okay, but the execution, the rhythm, the basic functional operation of the offense is breaking down. And that breakdown is directly impacting the quarterback Cohen was hired to fix. The clock is ticking to solve this Trevor Lawrence problem, which might actually be a Jaguars offensive process problem.
So here's something to think about. The analysis makes it clear Lawrence is playing below his own level from 2022 and 2023. He's shown he can be better, even in imperfect situations before.
Right, he has a baseline we've seen.
So the really critical question for the Jaguars, for Coyne and Gladstone, isn't necessarily, do we need a new scheme, or is Lawrence the guy? It might be more fundamental. Can this new regime fix the surrounding issues, the O-line support, the epidemic of drops, the operational sloppiness quickly enough to simply allow Lawrence to get back to the level he's already proven he can play at? Forget elevation for a second. Can they just fix the process to stop the regression? That seems like the immediate challenge.